Yo, what is up, YouTube? Trader Mayne here. Been a while. Wanted to do a quick video for you guys and gals, but mostly guys, I assume. I haven't done anything for YouTube in a while. Been busy. Had a good holidays. I hope you all did as well. Hope you've taken some time away from the charts and from the markets and spent time with family, friends, and doing stuff that actually matters. As someone who is in the trading world, I know how much this space can consume you, and you can find yourself staring at screens for inordinate amount of time, not exercising, not seeing friends or family, just getting sucked in because essentially if you're doing it right, you're making money from your computer screen all hours of the day. So I understand there's an addictive aspect to trading. So holidays are always a good time to kind of step back, reset. Um, so hopefully you have done the same, got your goals written out for this year, all the stuff you're going to do, the targets you're going to smash. I'm a big believer in goal setting. And whatever you do in life, I think it's very important. So if you have goals for your trading, what do you want to, how much do you want to grow your portfolio? How much do you want to learn, improve, whatever? Trading is all about quantifiable results at the end of the day. So perfect discipline to have goal setting because everything is quantifiable for the most part. You can put everything to a number. So hope you're all doing the same. I had a really good holidays. Thanks for asking, even though you didn't. But you may have seen if you follow me on Twitter. Out snowboarding was a blast. Love getting in the mountain. Love stepping back and coming back to the markets refreshed. And it's been really good for me. For those of you who follow me, I had a little bit of a rough go the last couple months of 2019. Not as much, not as rough as some people on Twitter may think or may say, but I definitely got some trades wrong. Wasn't trading up to what I consider my standard. But have been off to a really good start for 2020. Definitely been in sync with the market. Had a lot of winners already, and feeling good about this year, about big things that I'm gonna do, and yeah, looking forward to sharing a little bit more with you guys. I know I always talk about trying to do a video or something once a week. I am really gonna try and do that. So here's the first one. And maybe I won't do a live stream every week, but who knows? Here's the first one. So with that being said, this is just gonna be a quick Bitcoin review. I'm just gonna cover Bitcoin. I'm gonna give some ideas of why I think the bottom may be in. Talk about where I went wrong with my last bottom call in air quotes, and what I learned from that, and then give you a trade idea that I'm eyeing up here. Actually, a couple of ideas. So first, let's talk about where we're at right now. So those of you that follow me on Twitter, I was very confident that the bottom of this move was going to get placed in here. So when we came down here, I got heavy into longs, and got was right initially, and then obviously traded in was quickly proven wrong. This was just another lower high, right into our weekly bearish order block, weekly supply zone, whatever you want to call it. I was confident this is where the bottom was going to be. I was wrong. I had a lot of, I was posting a lot of my engagement on Twitter was at all-time high in this area because I figured out the algorithm hack for crypto Twitter, by the way. Just post bullish shit and nothing but it, no matter what, and you'll get hundreds of likes. So that's what I was doing, and basically the thoughts were this kind of falling wedge into this high time frame support area. Once I saw this bounce, it turns out this was just another rejection of the range high, and we continued lower. All that being said, I failed to catch the bottom. I actually made money on this move, but I failed to catch the bottom once here, and then I got another trade wrong around here, thinking this was going to be the bottom. After this move, I thought this was going to be a higher low. I got like another 2 or 3 trades wrong there. Couple trades wrong up here. You know, if you look on Twitter, it's almost like I got every trade wrong. I mean, I traded great for the, you know, majority of this run. And here as well, and made some money here, but was longing for sure. About 3 or 4 times I tried to long here and got smoked on everyone, and that happens. And I've made those trades back in more within the first 3 weeks of the year. So you know that's the nature of the beast. That's why we aim for asymmetric risk reward. You're allowed to get shit wrong. Because when I lose small, and when I win big. That's the idea. Aiming for 2 to 1s, 3 to 1s, and even more. So. It's funny. I had a lot of people now that I do think the bottom is in again. I'm not being as obnoxious about it, but I do think that this is showing positive signs. We had a lot of people being like, "Oh, Mayne, you were fucking wrong last time. All you do is ever be bullish on Bitcoin." And it's like, well, last time I checked, being bullish on Bitcoin in the year 2019 was generally a pretty good idea. I mean, obviously we had about 7 months of uptrend. And then, you know, into July, and then the last 5 months have absolutely been a downtrend. So, you know, I was fighting the market here for a couple of months for sure. But overall, look at the yearly candle, right? You know, you could have just bought any time in the first half of last year and made money. And, you know, if you were like me and you bought, you know, Christmas and springtime of last year, you know, you're up double. Even if you didn't sell anything here, just from buying in here and holding to here, you're up 2 times. So, you know, I think that with crypto, it's very common to be very zoomed in and to go, well, fuck, man, we've been going down for 5 months. It's like, yeah, but a year ago we were at 3,000. A year ago, would you not have dreamed of price being at 8,700? Of course you would. But when you're trading crypto, things happen at hyperspeed. And the gains and everything is just magnified. So I think we are greedy, and we get too zoomed in and kind of forget the bigger picture. Because I'm still of the mindset that, you know, whatever happens here, we're placing a higher low. Whether it was here and I was wrong, whether it's here or lower. That's my opinion. I absolutely can be wrong. If this is just a lower high and we do this, everything I thought about Bitcoin this past year is completely wrong, and whatever. I've still made money, so I don't really care. But that's just my thoughts. I'm still of the mindset that this is the macro move that is going to be playing out, and you know, this little blip is just going to be the same as, you know, any of these little you know, downtrends that we've had, you know, while transitioning from potentially entering a new bull market. So this could be, you know, this area here. It could be similar to, you know, a downtrend, you know, here. It could be anything, right? I mean, to me, this is the start of a new bull market. Feel free to disagree with me. I don't really care. You know, I put my money where my mouth is, and when I'm wrong, I don't delete my tweets or try and hide them. They're all there for the world to see. So let me kind of discuss now why I think I have a better idea of why, you know, this might be the bottom. I have a couple of high time frame levels and areas that I'm watching, and then I'll also kind of give you an idea of something to do with ranges and, you know, fibs and an OTE kind of thing. And the, you know, the OTE is just a fib. So anytime someone's like, it's going to pull back to the OTE, like it's this secret area, it's just a common retracement level. It's between the 61.8 and the 78.6 in the middle there. It's nothing special, but there is something that I'll explain using the fib on Bitcoin that I think, you know, maybe I was jumping the gun here, but so I posted this on Twitter January 2nd. So we could go a little lower, but I see a lot of confluent high time frame support here. I'd rather be flat, hunting longs, than shorting into these levels from a macro perspective. Bottom is in or close, in my opinion. 6,400 is the key macro level. I don't want to see a weekly close below there. So, and then I drew some charts. Okay, so I posted this first at 7,100, 7,200. So first we have a quarterly OB. So what is quarterly? Quarterly is the 3-month chart. Oops. Okay, so down candle before the up move, right? So there's your quarterly order block, bullish order block, right? So it becomes an order block not here, but when the candle high is closed through. And as you can see, we came and retested, and now we've had a nice reaction, right? You get the wick and the nice reaction. And as you can see here, we hadn't had that yet, right? So this was posted before in anticipation of us getting a reaction, right? The higher time frame levels are going to have bigger reactions in price. But obviously, technically this order block goes all the way down to 3,700. But to me, you can frame your trades around these high time frame levels and get really big price moves, and then you dial in your risk and your profit taking, because I don't need this necessarily to take this high out, right? Like we could go like this, but it doesn't change the fact that this is a $2,000 candle, and if I use this as my high time frame level, I can key in a nice trade on the lower time frame. So now going down to the monthly. Okay. So into the monthly, we had a swing failure pattern, this low. Taken out and closed through, and then closed back above on the monthly chart. Okay, so this is a bullish candlestick pattern, right? Swing failure pattern. Again, this is happening on the monthly. So what does that mean? It means that this is going to take a while to play out, right? And it's also going to have a big reaction, right? So when you see high time frame candlestick patterns, on the they may not show themselves right away, but when the reaction could be big, right? Like a swing failure pattern on the 5-minute chart is not going to have the same effect as a swing failure pattern on the weekly chart. So again, swing failure pattern on the monthly into that quarterly order block level. So for those of you that are in Bitcoin Trade Group, for those of you that have watched some of my older YouTube videos, one of my favorite setups is swing failure patterns into a high time frame order block. So I find a high time frame order block. I'm like drawing here with nothing. I find a high time frame order block, and then I look for a swing failure pattern into that order block. Oh my God. I deserve to fail, Art. So you have your, right? And then into your order block, you have a wick, right? And then I like to see that as a reversal. I don't even know. This diagram, I'm sure, helped you immensely. Looks like a pair of testicles, for fuck's sakes. This is a setup that I like there. Let's just leave it at that. As a reversal. In one way or another, I'll find the high time frame order block, and then my entry is looking for a swing failure pattern into that order block. So regardless, right, just looking at the monthly here, well, you have monthly supply right here, or a monthly order block that we're now testing. So in reality, right, after we close the monthly here, you can enter a trade here, right? Your stop goes below the swing failure pattern low, and then you could target this monthly supply. It's a 1.5 to 1, but this is monthly, so there's a good chance that this goes much further. But that's a trade you can take just there based off the monthly. But this is obviously your first trouble area, your FTA, your monthly supply, your monthly bearish order block, and through here is going to determine whether or not we're going to go to all-time high again. If we can get through here, pop the top off, and start longing every pullback. So the high there is 91.53. Okay, the low, and we're into that level right now, is 8,300. So as soon as we close the month of December like this, that's why my trading's been good in January, because all I've done is look for longs. And that's because the monthly was telling me to do so. The high time frame was telling me to do so. And when you're trading in line with the high time frame, generally your trades have a higher probability of working out. If the high time frame is bullish and you're looking for shorts, you can get trades right? Like if the high time frame is bullish, there's still shorts in here, right? But the prevailing trend is bullish. You're better off taking longs, higher probability. So we're into this area now, right? But this was posted obviously in advance, right? Swing failure pattern, expecting a bullish month. So this is reason number 2 why I was bullish in January and why I think the bottom may be in, and I think I was wrong here. Because we didn't really have that same confluence. We were coming into the top. So, I mean, the same kind of analysis is what got me into the thinking this was the bottom here, was coming into this. So this is a monthly level of interest to me. You could call this a breaker, I guess. But monthly area of interest, right? Notice we come right in there. We're holding the EQ. And here we had the same kind of a setup, a swing failure pattern, right? Into this area and then a bounce, but then we dumped right back through. But now it looks like we're rounding off a little bit, right? We're rounding off a little bit. We have that swing failure pattern. We're respecting the EQ. Okay, so this is another reason why I think, okay, this would be an area where we have a nice SR flip, right? This is the last up candle before the breakdown of 3,000. This is the point of origin for that entire move. We then nuke through it and now we're retesting it. This is the classic reclaim type of trade. This is a trade that I'll take on the low time frame all the time, right? Where you have a level, breaks down. That's why is it so fucking stupid squiggly like that? Why can't I draw a nice smooth fucking line? It's like I have fucking Parkinson's or something, like fucking Michael J. Fox. Canadian icon. The UB retest, whatever the fuck you want to call it, an over under, but it's an SR level, right? Nuke through that. So that's a common price action, setup there. So we're seeing this, okay? Monthly breaker. And then zooming in on the weekly, we have this. Remember this old guy? This was the unbreakable floor that finally broke. And we're now back above it. And look, we come right into the EQ, swing failure pattern right here on the weekly, right into that area. So this is why I say 6.4 is the macro level I don't want us to lose, because that's that swing failure pattern from the monthly and from the weekly. That's the swing failure pattern low. So I don't want to see this level get taken out, or else we're going lower, obviously. But these are the reasons why I think the low is potentially in, right? High time frame confluence. Definitely don't want to be shorting into here, okay? And as you can see, if you just were to think of this, for all of you range traders out there, well, what is this? Imagine here is your range low, and this is your range high, or this is your range high, wherever it is. This could just be considered a deviation now, right? So let's see, obviously, but now we're looking like, okay, low, high, potentially a higher low, right? And what was missing here, and why I was wrong calling the bottom, is this. This is super key, and I posted a video on YouTube, an older stream I'd done for Bitcoin Trade Group, where I talk about this, and I also posted this on Twitter. I talk about how this is this was like a 45-day consolidation of sideways. We didn't have that here. This is consolidation sideways. I'll zoom into the daily now, right? So we had this 45 days or so, several weeks of sideways. Okay. Accumulation, potentially. We also had an inverted head and shoulders form, right? We had that weekly, daily SFP, monthly SFP form. And on the 3-day, we have a bullish engulfing here. So like I said earlier, the monthly SFP, the weekly SFP, it's going to take longer to play out. So this is the SFP here. It takes a couple weeks before it starts playing out. Same with this 3-day engulfing, right? You're not going to see the pump the next day, But this 3-day engulfing is a clue that, hey, first of all, it's occurring at a key high time frame level, and it's a clue that, we might have some upside following, and we obviously have now. So I got in some really nice trades here. I talked about this on Twitter, right? After we broke out of this range finally, I said, listen, this is not an area, I don't know if this was my exact range, but it's pretty damn close. I said, this is not, sure, you can fade here. I think I used close enough. Fade the range high, fade the range high, fade the range low, fade the range high. But after consolidating here for 45 days, right, if we're going to sell off here, in my opinion, when we ran the range low back to the range high, we want to see this continue down. But the fact that we came down into here, right, into this breaker, but into here, and then regain the range EQ, to me, that's a clue that we're bullish, right? This is now put in a higher low. We also have that 3-day bullish engulfing here and the SFP, and we've now reclaimed the midpoint of the range, when in reality, we just tested the range high, we just ran the range low, we're back to the range high. If this thing wants to dump, it's going down. Right? So the fact that we managed to hold above the EQ said, okay, I'm thinking we're bullish. So I ended up trying to get in a long. I waited for a pullback, didn't come. So I set breakout orders. I posted this on Twitter for here, a breakout long, because everyone and their mom was shorting this, fading the range high. And I said, I don't think you want to do that. I think after this long consolidation, you don't want to fade the first impulse out of this area. And sure enough, we had a very strong move. And then we started turning around up here, right? We ran this high, right? Retest here. I said the exact same thing, right? Everyone was short. We're like shorting. This is just a deviation. I said, I don't know. We just accumulated for 45 days. We painted a head and shoulders. We had the 3-day engulfing, the SFP, blah, blah, blah. I just see a retest of the range high. I'm getting long. I posted that on Twitter as well. And sure enough, another leg. And for the most part, what I've seen is people have just redrawn the range. They've drawn, different ranges, being like, oh, this is just still a deviation. I'm not bullish yet. And what's going to happen is, just like I tried to long here, saying bottom, 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 in a downtrend, if we are in fact in an uptrend in the bottom, at least temporarily, I think the bottom is in. But even if this is just a midterm bottom, which this is, right now, this is already a midterm bottom. We could turn down here. This could be just another little high. This is still a midterm bottom. But the fact of the matter is just like I'm longing here on the wrong side of the market, there's a bunch of people who for the last 6 months have been conditioned to sell, just assuming that we're going to make another lower high. And they're going to short every level on the way up. And they're going to continually reaffirm their own bias by saying, okay, well, it's not bullish. First, it wasn't bullish till it gets through 8. Now it's not bullish until it gets through 9. Next, it will be like, well, now it's got to get through 10.5. It's like, okay, well, when do you flip, right? Your bias has to be fluid. Even if you're not in a trade, have a stop. If you're bearish, but you're not in a trade, where are you wrong, right? That's your stop. Where are you wrong, and where do you flip to either being neutral or bullish? You have to have a number in mind or a level in mind where that happens. And that level cannot move. You cannot continually move the goalpost. You're just going to end up fighting the trend the entire way. Trust me. I know. And it's no different than here, right? Where for people who've not been on Twitter for very long, I had part of the reasons why I got popular, in my opinion, on Twitter is because I made a lot of good shorts here, where everyone was conditioned to longing 6K. I was shorting every top with the high time frame trend, and then eventually gave the goat. So eventually the trend is going to turn, and what the high time frame does is it shifts on the low time frame first. The market structure will begin to look bullish on the low time frame first before it starts looking bullish on the high time frame. But the high time frame, since it's higher time frame, takes longer to move and to show that bullish market structure changing. So you can get clues from the high time frame, and then you'll see it happen on the low time frame first, and then ideally we want to see continuation, right? Because this could just be a retrace before a continuation of the high time frame downtrend, right? And then the prevailing high time frame trend could continue. But for the reasons I just explained with the SFP, the 3-day engulfing, this range breakout, This is the most bullish price action we've seen in like the past 6 months. Absolutely. Like this is bullish, sure, but we're making lower highs here, right? This is moving up, completely retraced. Moving up, completely retraced. Moving up, completely retraced. Moving up, completely retraced. So as much as these are big bull moves, this is bearish in that they're getting smacked down instantly. We're making lower highs and lower lows. This here has been the most bullish thing we've seen, in my opinion, in a while, into those high time frame levels I was talking about, which lead me to believe that the bottom is in, at least potentially, and that's why I'm framing myself with a bullish bias for now until proven otherwise. So absolutely we could smack down here and turn around, but to me, if you look at just the weekly here, how is this not like at least somewhat bullish, right? To me, this is one of the more bullish things we've seen in a while on Bitcoin. Accumulation, then a strong close through, followed by a second strong close. We're now into some interesting territory. Now we're back into the range of this candle here, right? And this could just be a deviation, and then maybe this is the bottom. If you're a trend line person, we finally have closed kind of through this downtrend line, right? I know that this is not something that I use, but we finally closed through the weekly SAR. Last time this happened was here, right? So, notice rejection. So last time that happened was back here. So I'm not saying there's a lot of confluence. There's some MAs that are looking good and confluent. But to me, just looking at the weekly with no price, nothing marked up, this here just closing through here, this SFP, that 3-day engulfing, all those high time frame levels I just explained, those to me lead me to believe that this may be where the trend finally changes. And the thing is you can try and get in early, or you can wait for confirmation. Just know where that level is. Have a level in mind where you shift your bias, and then know where that's wrong. Because if you're just continually saying, well, it's got to get through here, it's got to get through here, it's got to get through here, you're going to be waiting forever. I mean, if you want to play it safe, in my opinion, through here, absolutely, it's time to be a bull. What else can I talk about here? And then, another thing I kind of talk about here, I updated this, right? There's that reaction. So that's basically $1,000 move between the first and the last chart I posted. Just notating all the same levels here. And I also added this. One thing with the fibs, and this is that OTE point I'm going to make here, right? Here's your range. So another key level that we're fighting with right now is this. This is the mid-range of this entire move here at 8,500. So definitely something to be aware about. I think as long as we're holding above there and battling back to get above this kind of price floor, I don't think there's a reason to be super bearish. But if I change this to my fib, we also came right into the C here. This was more of like a 50% pullback. Here we're coming right into our 62%, almost right into this is the OTE, right? In between these two. Something you'll notice about Bitcoin is it really likes that 62% pullback, right? There it is. Right? Here it is again. And what's really common in trading, so if you're talking about trading a range, right? At least this is how I trade ranges. If I'm bullish, if my high time frame bias is bullish, I want to get long in the lower part of the range. Okay? Because price, if this is a range, right? If we're in an uptrend and then we start ranging, and I think we're going to continue the uptrend, where do I want to get long? Not here. I want to get long in the lower part of the range where price would be considered at a discount. Versus if we're in a downtrend, right? And then we're ranging and I expect continuation, I want to get short in the upper part of the range where price would be considered at a premium relative to the equilibrium, right? If we're selling, you want to sell things at a premium, right? If you want to buy things, you want to buy it at a discount. So when I use this in my trading, right, what's very common for traders is they want to buy and sell at the 50% pullback. Because if you look here, you're like, okay, well, 50%, it's pulled back enough. But what you'll notice is Bitcoin, and this is why the OTE is a thing. Like if you go on any currency pair, whatever, this pullback's very common. So if you're ICT type of trader, when you have your order block form, right, normally you have a high and then you have a OTE pullback into the order block. And that's your entry, right into there. And what's happening is you're bullish, right? This is now a range. All an order block is a candle, right? So if I have a candle and I pull a fib from the top to the bottom, like I did here, right? I'm just creating the range of this candle. And so I'll explain this better in a sec. But so price is now, I'm bullish. Price is now pulled back into the range of this candle, or the range of this price swing, excuse me, into what I would consider a discount. I'm bullish. I'm getting long. Right? So if you're just pulling a fib of a candle, a single candle, from here to here, that's just a range, right? Because on the 4-hour chart, yeah, that's just one candle on the weekly, but on the H4, I'm marking this entire price range. So it's just a range, right? A candle, marking the fib on, it's all a range. It's all the same. That's what I'm trying to say. So when I'm trading, I like to buy at a discount, sell at a premium. And what you'll find with Bitcoin for sure is it likes to make this deep pullback, right? To the point where most people are trying to buy the 50%, it goes in deeper. Notice here, that's exactly the example I just drew out for you. There's your bullish order block. There's your price swing. Now it's coming back into the range that you just drew, right into the bullish order block, and it all lines up at the 62 to 79 area. And then you have your move, right? So what will happen often is people will say, okay, I want to short Bitcoin. They'll start shorting at the 50%, being like, oh, it's back to the 50%, and it goes a little further. People get stopped out, right? When it's really coming back into here. It's running this high right into the 50%, into the order block, into that 62. And this is a trade I took on Twitter. You can go back and see. It's obviously almost a year and a half ago now, and then it sells off, right? So you'll see this 62%, to 79% pullback all the time in the markets. And that's another kind of reason why I'm like, okay, maybe this is where the bottom forms, because I was a little anticipatory at the 50%. Now we've kind of completed that 62% pullback. Right? You'll see this all over the place. And I don't think the fibs alone, right, from that high to this low, right, where do we come on this entire spike? Right about to the 62. So you'll see this all over in the markets. I'm not saying the fib is enough to enter a trade, but to me, it's confluence. I'm adding up different items to give me this idea. And then I've updated it one more time. Now $2,000 from my first post, basically. And we're into that monthly FTA. So let's see what happens. There's your bullish engulfing. So those are the reasons why I think the bottom is in. Now, what's my plan? I'm already well positioned in spot. I've had some nice longs here. I have 3 trade ideas I'm going to share with you right now. The first one is a more short-term trade. So if you look at the daily here, we've taken out yesterday's low and closed above. Now we zoom in. So that's my bias. Bias bull, right? Zoom in. Now on the H4, right? What do we have here? Break in market structure. What's that form, the break in market structure, is this H4 order block. So I'm expecting a pullback into this area for a long, okay? And first target, or first trouble area at least, is going to be here. And if we can go through here, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't go and take out this high. Okay, personally, I think we're in line for a bigger pullback here. I do think, because this has been, up, down, I do think we have a bigger shakeout coming, potentially. But we could go like this, take out this high, and then shake out, or we could just continue from here and be kind of on another little parabolic ascent. But the bottom line is I want to potentially get into a long if that's the case. So that's my reasoning for long number one. Okay, break a market structure on the H4, daily close here, pull back into here. I'm going to long it. A very common thing you'll see is when Bitcoin does, and not just Bitcoin, when you see like an SFP, if you even want to call this an SFP, but when you see this happen, oftentimes what you'll see is price will come back and retest the close of the candle that got run. So if I now zoom in, the close of that candle that got run, right, happens to line up perfectly with that order block that I just marked for you. So that's a common thing that you'll see. So that's a trade I'm looking at right now. Second trade idea I have to share with you. And so for that, you know, your stop, your risk goes down here, right? So it looks something like, I don't know, you enter here, you could say target here. So that's just your target 1, target 2, right? Something like that. Second trade idea I have is, okay, this was the, you know, based on coming into here, right? We've topped for now. Got a nice wick, right? So we're going to pull back deeper. To me, you know, what are we going to do? Maybe fill in some of this area here. So I would look for us to potentially come back into, you know, this area, this consolidation here, and then potentially continue. Because if you look, right, there's nothing coming back into here and then continuing up. You still are maintaining market structure. What we might be losing, right, is this micro trend. So what you saw here, this is like a, you know, a rising wedge, right, which usually breaks down. And the idea to get this short, in hindsight, right, the short's obvious, but to get this short, what will happen is we're making marginally higher highs, marginally higher lows, right? We're not seeing that expansive price movement. That to me tells you that the move is running out of steam. And then eventually, obviously, this move got cooked, right? And it broke down. But those marginally higher highs, we may lose this micro trend on the hourly. But if you zoom out to the daily, you know, pulling back to here and placing a higher low is still, you know, perfectly fine and looks bullish. So that would be the second idea I have. So if we are going to dump lower, I think I would look to bid kind of from, you know, this high, so like maybe 8,400 down to about 8,200, maybe 8,100, down into this area for, you know, something like this. That would be my next kind of idea that I'm looking for. So going to wait and see if that happens. But basically, I'll be, depending on what happens with my first idea, I'll be setting some bids down in this consolidation for potentially another leg up. So that is idea number 2. I'm not really interested in shorting. I think the trend is up. If you were to short, right? If we give out, you know, this level here, right? This could be a little mini range, right? And so if we trade back, and this could end up being just a deviation, right? So if this is just a deviation, we trade back into here, my long doesn't work. Any sort of break below this low, I think you just get into short, and you target like 8,000. You target this consolidation here. I'm not personally interested in doing that, right? But definitely a potential trade idea. If we come up, if we fail to kind of stay out of this range, like I'm hoping for just a move in and go. But if we come in and then start breaking down, an aggressive short would be coming in right here. But you could wait until we break below this low and then get to a short. But I'm not interested in doing that. So long here, number 2. Number 3 idea I have, and this one's a little more wonky, but remember what I was talking about with that 62% retracement, right? Well, first, let me mark this. Okay, what is that level? That's the yearly open. Okay, so yearly open is there. we could come back to the yearly open and still be bullish. So if I pull that fib, let's say this is the start of a new uptrend, right? We could pull back all the way to the 62, the OTE or deeper, and then continue up. This would be, we haven't really had a big shakeout yet. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but this is possible. We could come back into this area, right? We could retrace into this range very deeply, back towards the yearly open, and then continue. So another idea of mine is a deep pullback. If we start trading below 8K again, I'm very confident that we're going to start seeing like 2 to 4K charts on Twitter and TradingView. Like everyone is going to be calling for new lows, being like, oh, this was absolutely just another lower high, which it would very much look like, right? If we pull back here. Everyone's going to think, oh, this is just another lower high in this bearish trend and we're going back down to here. And maybe we do. Maybe that is what's going to happen. But to me, coming back here, everyone would be shitting themselves. And then we would kind of be painting, almost another, this is a head and shoulders. And then you have a head and shoulders within a head and shoulders, right? So that's another idea I had. I don't to me that I don't see this one happening, and I don't know if we're gonna get below 8K again, but we could, and I would definitely long this because this long here that I'm taking, the first idea I showed you, right? The risk reward is not that great because we're right into resistance, right? We're right into this monthly FTA. The second long, a little bit better. My invalidation is here. The third long, right? The reason this one is so juicy is because, you're getting along here, let's say, right at the yearly open. Your invalidation is right here. And if you're right, the potential upside is massive. So the best risk reward long is this one. Why? Because it's at a discount. If this is your range that you're measuring, if this is your price swing, this is where we're at a discount. So let's see. Those are kind of my plans. There's 3 trade ideas for you. There's my thoughts on Bitcoin, on why I think the bottom is in. If you like this shit, follow me on Twitter, follow me on YouTube. I'm going to try and post something for you guys at least once a week. Maybe I'll do a live stream every other week or something, but just get some sort of content out there for you guys because I appreciate all you people who support me. I really do, and I enjoy interacting with you guys. I've had some bumps in the last little bit here, but I've been crushing it. Not to toot my own horn, but I've been crushing it so far this year. So if you're following me on Twitter, hopefully you're making some money. I've had a bunch of good trades posted on there between BTC in a very nice TRX long that I posted. I posted a Cardano trade yesterday. That's already up 5%. So I'll continue to share with you guys on there. And yeah, hope to interact with some more of you and talk to you guys probably on Twitter, obviously tomorrow, and sometime either this weekend or next week on YouTube. All right, that's all I got. Talk to you later. And follow me on Twitch, guys. More than anything, more than I love trading and I love sharing, I love playing video games. So if whatever we can do to get me in FaZe Clan so I can just fucking stop giving a shit about everything and just play fucking video games for a living. Oh my God, I was just deep in the rabbit hole of gaming YouTube and just doing the mental math on how much money some of these guys make to just play video games. It's fucking mind-boggling. So if you want to game, play some Call of Duty, hit me up. Let's go shoot some shit. All right, guys. Thanks.